When my sister was young, my parents gave her an old rotary phone to play with. It was big and clunky, like something a clown may have used as a prop. She wasn't exactly sure how it worked, or what it was for that matter. It wasn't until years later she realized that it had once served a purpose outside of her playroom. It had once sat on the desk in my grandparents' study during most of the 1960s. It saddened me to think that something that was once so current was now obsolete. I hated the thought that my parents would be the last generation to appreciate things like the rotary phone. What really bothered me, though, was imagining my parents, their possessions, and their entire generation fading into obsolescence. I began spending my time in the antiques mall down the street from my house. I wandered through the halls like I was in a museum celebrating the countless elements of days gone by. This, however, made me even more upset as I saw the same items day after day gathering dust. I saw old birthday cards to nobody and family photos of the obsolete and the forgotten. Clearly then, something had to be done, so I took my obsession one step further and began to shop. I bought vinyl records despite having never owned a turntable, 3 typewriters, only one of which works, an 8-track player complete with 8 tracks, and a portable television set from the mid-70s. A lot of people thought that I was crazy buying what they would consider a bunch of old junk, but not me. I felt like if I didn't buy these things, nobody would. I was single-handedly saving my parents' generation. One day I noticed the antique mall had changed. For every Mickey Mouse toy or Matchbox car, there were countless Beanie Babies, Teddy Ruxpins, Simpsons dolls, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle products, all of them symbols of my childhood. I came to the realization that in my attempt to save the 60s, my own generation had slipped out of modernity. My mind raced, thinking of all the things my generation would be the last to experience. Mine is the last generation that will use a tube television set, the last to see VHS, and the last that will use a Discman. Mine is the last that will understand The Simpsons was once worth watching, or that Disney films were once drawn by hand. We'll be the last to use a pen and paper as our go-to writing utensils, and the last to remember the presidency as a job for white males. We'll be the last to know a time when our phones, our cameras, our clocks, our tape recorders, our gaming consoles, and our music players as separate items before they were combined. Today, when I wander through the antique mall or think back to that old rotary phone, I can't help but smile. I look at these antiquities and remind myself where we've been and how far we've come. I look at all our current technologies in awe. I can hardly fathom what better advancements will come along and make it all obsolete. I can't wait.